All right, ready to dive deep into attraction.
Always.
We're going to decode the subtle language of attraction.
Sounds fascinating.
We've got an excerpt here from 20 obvious signs a woman is attracted to you.
Okay.
And, some of this is obvious, right? But we're going to get into the psychology.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it so interesting is we're broadcasting these signals
Right.
without even realizing it. So
Yeah.
we're going to uncover those.
Exactly. So have you ever gotten that feeling that someone is interested in you,
Right.
but you can't quite put your finger on, like, why?
Oh, all the time.
We're going to decode it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So we're not just talking about the obvious stuff, like someone smiling at you.
Yeah.
We're going deeper.
Okay.
We're talking nonverbal cues.
Hmm.
For example, have you ever noticed how someone tilts their head when they're engaged in a conversation?
Oh, yeah, totally.
What is that about?
Well, that head tilt is a really powerful signal of openness and trust. And when you think about it, you tilt your head, you're exposing your neck,
Right.
which is a vulnerable area.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a subconscious act of vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
almost like, an animal exposing its belly.
Wow, I like that.
It suggests a level of comfort.
Yeah, it's like an invitation to come closer, right?
Exactly.
Both physically and emotionally.
Yes, exactly.
So sometimes that invitation's met with a little hesitation, right?
Sure.
Like, do you ever notice, like, the shy glance away?
Yeah.
You might think breaking eye contact is a sign of disinterest,
Right.
but it can actually be the opposite.
It's true, yeah. Especially when it's paired with a quick return of the gaze.
It's more about, like, managing that intensity of the moment.
Exactly.
Like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah. Like, I'm interested, but this
Yeah.
is a lot.
This is a lot. I need a second.
Right.
Yeah.
It's what psychologists would call an approach avoidance conflict, where we're drawn to the person, but the intensity of attraction can also make us want to pull back a little.
Right.
So it creates this like push and pull dynamic.
Oh, I like that. Adds a little mystery.
Exactly.
Okay, now what about blushing?
Oh, yeah.
We all know that one, right?
Blushing, yeah.
That could be a giveaway, but what's really going on there?
Well, blushing is actually a fascinating physiological response. It's triggered by the release of adrenaline,
Oh, wow.
the same hormone that kicks in during fight or flight.
Really?
So even though we might be experiencing attraction,
Right.
our body reacts in a similar way to sensing danger, which is kind of funny how our physiology betrays us.
It's like our body saying, I'm into this person, but I'm also kind of freaking out right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that nervous energy can manifest in other ways too,
Yeah.
like fidgeting
Oh.
or playing with your hair.
So someone twirling their hair could be a sign of attraction.
It could-
Or just nerves in general, right?
Could be either or
Yeah.
both.
How can we tell the difference?
Well, that's where context is key.
Yeah.
If you're noticing a cluster of these behaviors,
Yeah.
the head tilt, the shy glances, the blushing, the hair play,
Right.
it starts to paint a clearer picture.
It's all those pieces together.
Exactly, like you're piecing together a puzzle.
Yeah.
One piece might not tell you much, but when you start putting them together, the image becomes clearer.
I gotcha. Okay, so we got the head tilt, we got the shy glance, we got the blushing, and the hair play. What about lip biting?
Oh, yeah.
Because our source mentions that, but what makes that such a powerful signal?
Well, the lips are incredibly sensitive, and drawing attention to them can be a way of amplifying the sensations and emotions of the moment.
Okay,
So it's often a subconscious gesture,
right.
but it really speaks volumes about the heightened awareness of the other person.
It's almost like a silent invitation to notice those lips.
Exactly.
And maybe imagine what it would be like to, well, you get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of attraction.
Yeah.
The power of touch.
Ah!
Even the most fleeting light touches can really spark a connection.
So we're not talking about anything overt here.
No, not at all.
Just like a brush of the arm, a touch on the shoulder.
Exactly, just a little graze.
Okay.
These seemingly insignificant touches create a physical connection,
Right.
however brief, that can amplify that sense of intimacy and attraction.
Interesting.
It's like testing the waters a little bit.
Right. Like, hey, I'm comfortable with you and I wouldn't mind getting a little closer.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it often goes hand in hand with other signals, like prolonged eye contact or mirroring body language.
Mirroring body language. Now that's interesting.
Yeah.
So if someone leans in and the other person kind of subtly mirrors that movement,
Yeah.
that's a good sign.
Absolutely. Mirroring is a really powerful way of establishing rapport,
Okay.
building a connection. It's like saying, I'm on the same wavelength as you. I get you.
It's like we're in sync.
Exactly. We're vibing.
Okay, so we got touch, we got mirroring. What about posture?
Oh yeah, posture's huge. Should that play a role? Big time.
Okay.
Think about someone arching their back slightly. It might seem subtle,
Right.
but it can subconsciously emphasize curves and exude confidence.
Right.
It's a way of presenting oneself in a more attractive light.
Right. Yeah, like, hey, check me out. I'm feeling good.
Exactly. And confidence, as we know, is incredibly attractive. It signals that you're comfortable in your own skin.
Confidence is key. Okay, what about leaning in during a conversation?
Oh yeah, leaning in is a big one.
Is that just about getting closer?
Well, it is about getting closer,
Yeah.
but it's also a really powerful signal of engagement and interest. It's a way of subtly entering someone's personal space, which conveys trust and a desire for connection.
Right. It's like saying, I'm so captivated by what you're saying that I can't help but get closer.
Exactly. And it's often accompanied by other cues, like an open posture, uncrossed arms, and a forward tilt of the body.
It's like they're creating a space.
Yeah.
A welcoming space.
Exactly. Breaking down those barriers.
Yeah. And speaking of connection, what about laughter?
Laughter. That's a powerful one.
Right.
You know, sharing a laugh, especially at someone's jokes, creates instant rapport
Yeah.
and connection.
For sure.
It signals that you find them amusing and enjoyable to be around, even if the jokes aren't that funny.
Sometimes it's not even about the joke.
Right. Sometimes it's just about the shared experience.
It's the act of laughing together.
Exactly, yeah. It creates a bond, a sense of shared intimacy that can be really attractive.
Right.
It's like saying, you know, I enjoy your company and I appreciate your sense of humor, even if it's a little corny.
It's like, I'm having fun with you. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah?
It's a reminder that sometimes it's not about being perfect
Right.
or saying all the right things.
Totally.
It's about being genuine and enjoying each other's company.
Authenticity is key.
Authenticity is key.
And, you know, it's important to remember that while these signs can be really helpful
Yeah.
in understanding attraction,
Right.
they're not always foolproof.
Because everyone expresses themselves differently.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So we can't just rely on a single cue. We need to look at the bigger picture.
So it's like being a detective. We're gathering these clues and we're
Cool.
looking for patterns.
Yeah, and the more attuned we become to these subtle nuances of communication,
Yeah.
the better equipped we are to navigate this whole world of attraction,
Makes sense.
which is complex and exhilarating. It's amazing how much we can communicate without even saying a word.
Right.
But, you know, we can't forget there's more to attraction than just body language.
Of course not. Our source material also mentions changes in appearance as a potential sign.
Right,
Like, I guess it makes sense if we're trying to impress someone, we want to look our best.
exactly. And it's not just about vanity, though.
Mhm.
You know, putting effort into our appearance
Right.
can signal that you value the other person's opinion and that you want to make a good impression. It's like saying, hey, I think you're worth the effort.
I like that. It's not just about looking good.
Right.
It's about showing that you're invested.
Exactly.
All right. This next one is a little surprising.
Okay.
Changes in breathing patterns as a sign of attraction.
Interesting.
How does that even work?
You know, when we're feeling excited or nervous, our heart rate increases.
Right?
Our breathing tends to speed up or become a little shallower.
Okay.
It's a natural physiological response to those heightened emotions.
So if someone's breathing gets a little quicker when they're around me, that could be a sign that they're feeling some butterflies.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'll have to start paying more attention to that.
Right.
Now this one seems even more subtle, flared nostrils.
Okay.
How is that related?
Well, it might seem strange, but flared nostrils are another subtle sign of adrenaline at work.
Okay.
And remember, adrenaline is released when we're feeling excited or nervous.
Yeah.
Those same emotions that often accompany attraction.
So even though we might not be in any actual danger, our body reacts in a similar way when we're around someone we're attracted to.
It does. It's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
It really is. It's a primal response
Yeah.
that highlights the intensity of those emotions.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, let's talk about proximity.
Okay?
You mean like how physically close someone is to you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So if someone is consistently positioning themselves near you, whether it's choosing a seat close by or kind of lingering in your personal space,
Yeah.
that's often a sign of interest.
Right, yeah. It's like they're drawn to you, like a moth to a flame.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah, like they want to be in your orbit.
They want to be part of your world.
Yeah, so if someone keeps finding excuses to be near me, it's probably a good sign.
Probably a good sign, yeah.
Now, our source also mentions open body language as a sign of attraction.
Yes.
So what does that actually look like?
Well, open body language is all about conveying a sense of accessibility and receptiveness. It's the opposite of closed-off body language,
Okay.
like crossed arms
Yeah.
or avoiding eye contact. So think about someone who's facing you directly,
Okay.
arms and legs uncrossed, and their body tilted slightly towards you.
So they're like, I'm open to connection. Come on in.
Exactly. Breaking down those barriers, inviting you into their space.
I like it. What about leg movements?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that crossing and uncrossing legs can be a sign of flirting. Is there any truth to that?
Absolutely. Leg movements, especially when they're done repeatedly, can definitely be a subtle form of flirting.
Interesting.
Draws attention to the legs and creates a sense of playfulness
Right.
and allure.
So it's like saying, hey, I'm feeling a little floaty. Notice me.
Exactly. And it's often paired with other signs like eye contact,
Yeah.
playful smiles, to amplify the message.
Right. It's all about creating that sense of intrigue.
Exactly.
Okay. Now this next one is interesting.
Okay.
The source mentions touching the neck or lips as a potential sign of attraction.
Interesting.
What's the psychology behind that?
Well, the neck and lips are incredibly sensitive areas.
Right.
And drawing attention to them, whether consciously or subconsciously,
Yeah.
can be a way of expressing heightened emotions. It's often subtle,
Right.
almost unintentional,
Hmm.
but it speaks volumes about the person's awareness of you and their own kind of heightened senses.
Yeah. So it's like they're highlighting those areas that are associated with intimacy,
Exactly.
vulnerability.
It's a delicate dance
Yeah.
of revealing and concealing,
Yeah.
drawing attention to those sensitive spots,
Right.
but also kind of managing the intensity of the moment.
Yeah. It's like a secret language,
It is.
whispered through subtle gestures.
Exactly.
Now, we've talked a lot about body language and physical cues,
Right.
but what about voice tone?
Oh, yeah. Voice tone is huge.
Does that play a role?
Big time.
Yeah.
The way we speak can convey so much about our emotions and our intentions.
Totally.
So a warm, inviting tone can be incredibly alluring, while a flat, monotone voice can be a real turnoff.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, like a playful tease delivered in the right tone of voice
Right.
can be incredibly flirtatious.
Totally. A slight lift in the voice,
Yeah.
a playful inflection, a whisper,
Yeah.
all those little vocal nuances can add layers of meaning and create that sense of intimacy.
It's like adding a soundtrack to the interaction.
Exactly.
Setting the mood. Right.
Setting the mood, creating a vibe.
Yeah. And so just as we send signals through our voice, we also pick up on those cues from others.
We do.
Pay attention to the tone, the rhythm, the pauses.
Yes.
All of those things can reveal a lot
They can.
about how someone is feeling.
Absolutely. It's a two-way street.
It is.
We're both sending and receiving these
Yeah.
messages.
Okay, now shifting gears again, our source also mentions the importance of shared experiences.
Oh yeah, shared experiences are huge.
How do those factor in?
Well, shared experiences are incredibly powerful because they create a bond, a sense of connection that goes beyond just the superficial attraction.
Okay.
Think about it. When you share a meaningful experience with someone, whether it's a hilarious moment,
Yeah.
a heartfelt conversation, an adventure that gets your adrenaline pumping,
Right.
it creates a shared history
Yeah.
that strengthens the connection.
It's like weaving a tapestry of memories together.
It is.
Right, creating a shared narrative that you're both invested in.
And those shared experiences often lead to inside jokes, playful banter,
Right.
a sense of intimacy that's built on that foundation of shared moments.
It's like creating your own little world
It is.
that only the two of you share.
Exactly.
And that can be incredibly attractive. Now, our source mentions another factor that I find really intriguing, and that is intellectual stimulation.
Oh yeah, intellectual connection.
So you're saying brains are attractive?
Brains are definitely attractive. When you can engage in stimulating conversations,
Yeah.
share ideas, challenge each other intellectually,
Oh.
it creates a spark that goes beyond just the physical.
Right, it's like you're feeding each other's minds.
Yes.
Sparking that curiosity, igniting that desire to learn more.
Absolutely. And that intellectual connection can be incredibly intoxicating.
Yeah.
It's about connecting on a deeper level.
Right, it's not just about looking good or
Right.
having a great sense of humor.
Totally.
It's about having substance, being able to engage on that deeper level.
Precisely. And that depth of connection often leads to a more profound
Yeah.
and lasting attraction.
Right, it's about finding someone who challenges you,
Yeah.
inspires you, makes you think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about finding someone who sees you,
Yeah.
not just for who you are on the surface,
Right.
but for the complexities and depths that lie beneath.
Totally. It's about finding someone who celebrates your quirks, embraces your vulnerabilities,
Yes.
encourages you to be your most authentic self.
Exactly. And that kind of connection is incredibly powerful.
Wow, we've covered so much.
We have.
From those fleeting touches and those subtle breathing changes to the shared experiences and the intellectual sparks, it seems like attraction is so multi-layered.
It is. It is.
It's so much more complex than just checking off boxes on a list.
Right. It's dynamic. It's nuanced.
Yeah.
It's different for everyone.
Exactly.
So trying to reduce it to a formula would miss the whole point.
Right, because there's also, like, that energy between two people, right?
Yes.
That intangible click.
The chemistry.
Yeah, and our source doesn't explicitly touch on that, but I think it's a crucial piece.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why we talk about chemistry when it comes to attraction.
Right.
You know, sometimes there's just an undeniable spark that defies explanation.
Right. Sometimes you meet someone and you just feel instantly comfortable, like you've known them forever.
Exactly. And while it's great to be aware of all those tangible cues that we talked about,
Right.
it's equally important to trust our gut,
Yes.
our intuition.
Yeah, so we're not just detectives looking for clues. Right.
We're also tuning into our own internal compass.
Exactly. And speaking of intuition, there's one more element that our source touches on that I think is worth highlighting, and that's confidence.
Confidence. Okay. How does that fit in?
Well, when you approach interactions with that sense of self-assurance
Okay.
and a genuine belief in your own worth,
Right.
it creates an energy that is incredibly attractive.
So it's not about arrogance
No.
or trying to be someone you're not.
No, not at all.
It's about owning your unique qualities
Exactly.
and letting your inner light shine.
Beautifully put.
Thank you. And so when you approach those interactions from that place of self-assuredness,
Right.
it allows you to be more present, more genuine,
Yes.
more open.
More open to those possibilities that unfold.
So confidence isn't just about attracting others. It's about creating an environment where attraction can flourish.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about setting the stage for a genuine and fulfilling connection.
And, you know, it's important to remember attraction is a two-way street.
Right.
It's not just about recognizing the signs that someone's interested in you.
Right.
It's about being aware of the signals that you're sending out.
Right.
And being intentional about how you express your own interests.
So be an active participant,
Yes.
not just a passive observer.
Exactly. And remember, attraction is a journey, not a destination.
Ooh, I like that.
So enjoy the process of discovery,
Yeah.
the thrill of connection, the possibility of finding something truly special.
That's beautiful. So as we wrap up this deep dive, is there any key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
You know, I think the biggest takeaway is just be present, be authentic, and be open to the magic of connection.
I love that.
Pay attention to the subtle cues, trust your intuition, and don't be afraid to express your own interests.
Yes.
You never know what amazing possibilities might unfold.
Beautifully said. Well, that's it for this deep dive into attraction.
So much fun.
Until next time, happy observing.